So I was looking at a bunch of videos whereby I talked about the different books I wanted to read in 2020, and then it occurred to me that there were still some books that were missing from this list. And some of these books are books that are really hyped. Some of them are books that I have seen so many of my friends and people I follow really gush about. So I figured, you know what, I will totally do a video which I will title 10 hype books, or at least somewhat hyped books that I want to read in 2020. Please note that some of these books though are the first book in a series. So I think I will start this video by stating that I do like to go into most of the books I read knowing as little as possible, because I like to be surprised when I'm reading a book. Yes, I'm one of those people that also do not like spoilers, so you can already guess how little information you'll be getting about these books, except for the fact that, oh, maybe there are some things that people have said about them that really has me really hyped up for them. So that would be how this video would start. And I would start with, I won't say the least popular, but the book that is not as hyped as it should be, at least according to quite a number of people I follow on Twitter, and that is Criers War by Nina Varela. Apparently in this book we have an enemies to lovers situation. The only thing about it is that this book is so amazingly queer. There's two girls who start off as enemies, or at least one person resents the other because the other girl is the daughter of a woman who is basically responsible for the enslavement of people. Okay, I'm getting ahead of myself. Apparently in these books there are androids or automatons who used to serve humans, but then they all led a revolt, and now humans are the servants and playthings of automatons. And the automaton daughter of the person who is ruling the land, apparently our lead character in this is given as a servant to the automaton princess, and she hates the girl because the girl basically stands for everything that she's lost, and her plan is to kill Crier. The only problem is that she ends up over the course of the book falling in love with Crier. So this book is really sapphic. It has enemies to lovers, and it's really sweet, really romantic. At least that is what I've heard. And like I said, there's a particular subset of Twitter that has lost their minds over this book, that keep talking about it. So it's hyped if you follow a particular group of people, but if you don't, you probably would not have really heard much about it. And the reason why I said that it's the least popular book on my list, but it's still a hype book that I intend to read in 2020. And then there's the second book I want to read in this year, and that is Assassin's Apprentice by Robin Hobb. This is the first book in the Farseer trilogy, and the Farseer trilogy apparently kicks off the Realm of Elderling series, which is this universe of Robin Hood's set of books that contains, I think, 5 series. I think some of them are trilogies and some of them have 4 books, I'm not sure. But yeah, I have wanted to read Robin Hobb. She is a very popular author. The Realm of Elderling series is a very hyped series, especially the Farseer trilogy, and I've been wanting to read it, and I finally, 2020 is the year when I would start the series. I can't make any promises that I will read all the five series this year, but I definitely want to start Assassin's Apprentice and work my way through the rest of the books in the series this year. So yeah, definitely Assassin's Apprentice. I have no idea what this book is about. This is definitely one of those books where I know absolutely zero about it. All I know is that a boy, I think, who is meant to be the son of a king or something, or I think the cast out son of a king or the unacknowledged son of a king, trains to be an apprentice. I'm not sure. I can't, like, someone was saying something about it and I was just like, okay, I don't want to hear anything more, because I definitely want to read this series and I want to be surprised as I read it. So yeah, Assassin's Apprentice by Robin Hobb. Next is Carry On by Rainbow Rowell. This is definitely, I'm certain there is nobody on BookTube, on Book Twitter, on Bookstagram who has not at some point in time come in contact with this book, especially if you are into YA books, because this book is very hyped. Apparently this is what we should have gotten with Harry Potter, with the relationship between Harry Potter and Draco Malfoy, and Rainbow Rowell is every single one of us realizing that those two had such great chemistry, and that J.K. Rowling totally missed her opportunity, and so she gave us the love story for the ages with Carry On, and made them roommates who start off not being able to stand each other. One of them is a vampire, one of them is a chosen one who sucks at his job, who sucks big time at being the chosen one, and it's so many things I love. I definitely can't wait to read it, and I'm definitely going to read it in 2020. I started it last year, but I only read, I think, the first 10 pages, and then something happened and I could not read it. So definitely a hype book I am getting into in 2020, and I can't wait to read it because I want to read Wayward Son, and I've not even bought my copy of Wayward Son because I am waiting for that to come out in paperback, because I want it to match with my copy of Carry On. Because I don't know, like, think about it, the Wayward Son hardcover goes excellently well with the Carry On paperback, but the Carry On hardcover does not go with that. So if I get the Wayward Son hardcover, the covers will match, but it would not be the same format. Ugh. First world problems in a third world country. Isn't that my life? And then there is Shatter Me by Tahara Mafi. I know people have thoughts and opinions about that series. I just really want to read it, not just because of the fact that I have the end of the series arriving shortly whenever it's released, because I pre-ordered it, but just because it's a book that is so universally loved and so universally reviled, and I want to see exactly where I fit into that spectrum, especially because apparently it's a book with 3 separate trilogies. Like I think Tara Mafi continued the series in the later books, and people love the first original trilogy but cannot stand the recent books, and I just want to know where I fit in. It's about a girl who has the power, whose touch can kill, and she's been kept in prison and secluded all her life, part of this big conspiracy, and the secret of who she is and her powers have been kept from her, because, you know, someone that has that level of power, the government is trying its best to ensure that she is not fully aware of exactly what she's capable of, and the fact that no prisons technically can hold her. So yeah, I always love stories about women getting their powers back. I always love stories about women finding their own finding themselves, finding comfort in their abilities, and totally and completely being allowed to go wild with those abilities. And then there's The Hating Game by Sally Thorne. This 2016 release made its way, at least if you're a fan of romance books and contemporary books, then you most likely have heard of this book. It is definitely very popular, definitely very hyped, definitely very talked about, and the reason why when the second book in the series came out, everybody lost their shit, even though word on the street is that it's not as good as this book. I'm not sure, but in this we follow 2 characters who seemingly hate each other, and when they're up for a promotion for the same role, they kind of take all the gloves off and go hardcore at each other, but in all that enmity they discover that they are falling in love with each other. You all know how much I love enemies to lovers, so I'm certain nobody is surprised that this is definitely a book I have been wanting to read, and 2020 is definitely the year I'm going to read it. I don't know when, because right now I think 2020 is my year of being a mood reader, and the reason why I'm just loving to make this list so that anytime I'm in the mood I can just pick up a book and read it. Because yeah, it would seem that making TBRs so far has not been working for me, but mood reading, picking up books whenever I feel like picking them up, has definitely been working for me. So I think that's what I'll be doing moving forward, but this is definitely going to be one of those books I would have in an easy to read position on my shelf. So The Hating Game by Sally Thorne. And then there's Mistborn by Brandon Sanderson. Yes, so many people I don't think if you're a fantasy lover, you would not have heard of Brandon Sanderson. You would not have heard of the Mistborn series. Like, everybody has heard about the Mistborn series. Everybody seems to have read the Mistborn series except for your girl. And 2020 is the year when I intend to change that. So I'm definitely going to be reading, if not the entire series, at least Mistborn this year. And what do I know about the book? Apparently in this world, everybody, like people with magic, have the ability to draw power from a particular element, and you can only draw power from that particular element, except if you're a Mistborn, and a Mistborn can draw power across all the elements, which makes them really powerful. That is all I know so far, and that is definitely what I'm going into that book with. So every single time someone talks about Mistborn, I just mute them out, because I don't want to be spoiled at all. I want to definitely discover that world anew. I want to lose myself in it. So definitely Mistborn by Brandon Sanderson is a hyped series, a hyped book that I would be reading in 2020. And then there's Daisy Jones and the Six by Taylor Jenkins Reid. I read The Seven Husbands of Evelyn Hugo last year, and I really loved it. And so when this book came out, early last year. I picked it up. I still have not read it. Apologies for that. But it's definitely a hype book. Like, everybody, when this book came out, everybody was talking about it. I knew people who read it in 3 rapid successions the minute it came out, so it had me very intrigued, but I still never got around to reading it because I was not in the mood for it. But I want to, because it has so many things I love. It has musicians, it has rock stars, it has ill-fated love, it has music and passions tearing a group apart. So many things I love. I'm just and it's, of course, you can see where Taylor Jenkins Reid draws inspiration from history, from rock and roll history. So it's definitely a book I want to read in 2020. Really hyped. I'm keeping my fingers crossed that I love it, and I'm keeping my fingers crossed that I read it soon. Actually, I intend to read it before the, I don't know, I think it's a movie adaptation or a TV show adaptation, I'm not sure, but I know that there's an adaptation of this coming out soon, and I intend to read it before that drops. So 2020 is definitely my year of reading Daisy Jones and the Six. And then there's An Ember in the Ashes by Sabata Hare. The amount of people that love Sabata Hare. I love Sabata Hare. I follow on Twitter. I love her mind. I love her wittiness. I love hearing about the shenanigans of her kids. So yeah, definitely a lover of Sabata Hare. I've never read a book, even though I have all the 3 books so far, and I know that the 4th book is coming out this year, and there's even a cover drop, and that cover is stunning, absolutely breathtakingly gorgeous. This cover though is very ugly. Not a fan of this cover. I don't know, not a fan of this cover, but I'm really pissed because book 1 and book 2 have a particular cover, and then book 3 there's a total cover change. I'm just like, why would you do this? Why would you do this to me, Sabat? But anyway, I'm not even getting into that. I want to read this book. I desperately want to read this book. I want to know exactly why it is that people think that Sabata Hare drinks the tears of her readers, because apparently she does nothing but reach into your heart and twist that organ you think, functions, and just like totally breaks you apart. And I want to be broken apart by a great book that I would love, by characters that I would connect with and root for. So what do I know about An Ember in the Ashes? It's a girl whose brother was taken, I think, and she basically joins a revolution. I'm not sure. I'm fairly certain that synopsis is really wrong. If I am right, please let me know down in the comments down below. If I'm wrong, let me know down in the comments down below as well. But I'm fairly certain I am wrong, but I don't want to know. I repeat, please just say, oh Nora, you got it right, or oh Nora, you didn't get it right. Don't spoil it for me, because I want to be surprised when I go into this book. But yeah, that is all I know about An Ember in the Ashes by Sabata Hare. What I'm certain though is that I am going to be reading it in 2020. If not all 3 books or 4, definitely this one is on my to-read list for 2020. And then finally we have this bad boy over here, The Name of the Wind by Patrick Rothfuss. This edition is pretty, it's gorgeous. I bought this copy off of Lauren because goddamn, like, she's just amazing. But I got a lot of books from her. Thank you, by the way, Lauren. Thank you, and I hope you're settling in Germany perfectly well and happy. I see your tweet, but I know you are. So yeah, just once again re-emphasizing that. But I got this beautiful edition of Lauren. It is she's a thick book. I have no idea what The Name of the Wind is about. I know that it is basically Kivoth. How the fuck do you pronounce his name? Is it Kivoth? Basically, Kivoth is narrating to us about his experience, and so he's telling us the story of his life and his adventures. And so we start from the future and then we make our way back to the past. I always like narrative storytelling styles like that, so that was already a reason for me to pick it up. And then now the fact that it is so well loved, and at the same time it's also so well not enjoyed. It's so funny. It's a book that is wildly loved and wildly hated in equal measure, and I'm just like, these are the kind of, you all know how much I love drama, especially when it comes to how people enjoy books, and then all that drama that comes with it when it is that there are other people that cannot stand the book, and then you have the book fans and everybody's going like, my book is great and your book is crap, and my book is great and your book is crap. Like, it feeds me. My soul is very happy when that happens. So I am definitely ready to join in that conversation to see if I would like Patrick Rothfuss's storytelling style, because I've heard that his writing is not for everybody. So I want to know if it is for me. But I do have The Wise Man's Fear, and I think that book 3 is finally coming out this year, so it's definitely it's a great time for me to start it. So I'm definitely going to be reading The Name of the Wind this year. And then there's of course an honorable mention for Wheel of Time, which I am starting this year as well, but I've already mentioned the 10 hype books, so I'll just chip that in as number 11. yeah, so I'm starting Wheel of Time. I'm starting Wheel of Time this year, and I am so excited and so stoked and so fucking terrified because that is a longer series, but it is a beloved fantasy staple. So I am definitely going to be picking up this. I'm definitely going to be picking up this year. At least I want to read the first book this year. I'm not sure if I'm going to read it physically or if I'm going to read it via audio, but whichever the case may be, I am ready. I am definitely more than ready for that series. But yeah, those are 11, not 10 hyped books I am going to be reading in 2020. Let me know what are some hyped books you're going to be reading in 2020, because trust me, I always look forward to your recommendations. I have a book I write everything down in so that I can stay abreast of all the books you're recommending me. So when it's time for me to buy books, I can always toss one or two of the books you recommend in my cart. That is what I do, and it's been working well for me. But yeah, that is this video. If you liked it, please do not forget to give it a big thumbs up. Check out my other videos, subscribe if you want to, and if you do decide to subscribe, don't forget to click on that notification bell so you can know the minute I have a new video go up. I make new videos every Sundays, Wednesdays, and Fridays, and I'll see you soon. Until then, stay passionate, love books, love yourself. Bye.